When you grow up near the coast, the beach becomes something less romantic and more normal. For me and my best friend Jake, the beach wasn't some dreamy getaway. It was our backyard. We grew up in a small town on the coast of North Carolina where everything shut down by 9, and if you wanted to do anything that didn't involve fast food or Walmart parking lots, you had to make your own fun. For us, that was fishing. We'd go at night because the beach was empty. The stars were insane, and the best spots were quiet. There was one in particular, a sandbar that emerged at low tide, maybe 30 yards offshore. It was our secret. You had to hike about half a mile past the last beach access, then wade through chest-high water with your gear to get there. But once you did, it was peaceful, silent, perfect, like being on your own little island. We'd been doing this summer tradition since we were teenagers, and by now, both in our mid-20s, it had become sort of nostalgic. One last trip before summer ended. That night was calm, no wind. The sky was clear enough to see every star. We brought beer, 2 rods each, and enough bait to last past midnight. We weren't even really fishing, just talking, throwing lines in, waiting for bites. Around 11 p.m., Jake nudged me and said, "Someone's out there." Sure enough, there was a light, maybe 100 yards down the shore. It looked like a headlamp, bobbing as someone walked. At first, we didn't think much of it. There's a kind of quiet camaraderie among night fishermen. You leave each other alone. But then it stopped. The light just froze. No movement, no flicker, just a pinpoint of white standing still in the dark. 5 minutes passed, then 10, still nothing. Maybe he's setting up, I offered, unsure. But neither of us really bought it. Eventually, we forgot about it. We cracked open more beers, got distracted watching Jake untangle his line. Then, maybe an hour later, everything went quiet, like unnaturally quiet. No wind, no waves lapping the sandbar. Even the bugs stopped. I remember looking at the shoreline and feeling my stomach drop. Someone was standing in the water. Not on the beach, not on the sandbar. In the water, about halfway between us and the shore. At first I thought it was driftwood or a buoy, but it was shaped like a person. Broad shoulders, still. Perfectly still. Chest deep in water. Jake saw it too. "What the hell is that?" we whispered, like being quiet would somehow protect us. The figure didn't move. We stood there for what felt like forever. Then I saw it, the faintest ripple in the water as it shifted. Just a step. Closer, it was hard to tell. We didn't say a word, just started packing everything, slowly, carefully. We slid into the water and began wading back, rods in one hand, cooler in the other. The figure didn't approach, but it moved when we did, matching our pace, staying exactly halfway between us and the beach. I tried to tell myself it was a fisherman, a swimmer, something explainable. But who stands motionless in water for an hour? We hit the shore and sprinted. No looking back, no talking, just sand flying under our feet until we got to Jake's truck. He drove without saying anything for the first 10 minutes. Then he asked, "You saw it too, right?" I nodded. We didn't talk about it for weeks. Not until the summer ended and curiosity got the better of us. We decided to go back one morning just to see. Everything looked normal, except for the footprints. There were 2 sets, ours clearly going to the sandbar, and another set, barefoot, larger, coming from the dunes straight to the shore and then disappearing at the waterline. No prints going back, nothing else, just sand and silence. It started off as one of those spontaneous, we need to get away weekends. My girlfriend Liv and I had been working remote for months. Burnout was real and the city noise was driving us nuts. So we found this little cabin on Airbnb, tucked away on the Oregon coast. It wasn't fancy, more like a rustic shack with no Wi-Fi and spotty reception, but it had everything we wanted. Privacy, ocean views, and a deck that faced the beach. The listing called it perfect for disconnecting. First night was amazing. We lit candles, cooked dinner, opened a bottle of wine. No phones, just music, wind, and the sound of waves crashing 50 feet away. The next morning we hiked, explored tide pools, took 1,000 photos. We barely saw another soul. The place was so remote it felt like the last cabin before the edge of the world. But that second night, something felt off. Around midnight, Liv was already asleep. I stepped out on the porch for a smoke. The moon was out, full enough that it lit the entire beach. You could see the tide pulling back, revealing wet sand and tiny crabs skittering away. And then I saw something, a figure way down the shoreline. At first I thought it was a post or something, but it was moving, slowly, almost limping. It would stop, bend down, then stand again. I squinted. They were holding something, maybe a tripod? The whole thing creeped me out, but I figured, okay, maybe a night photographer or some local eccentric. I went back inside, locked the door behind me, and forgot about it. Until the next morning. We were walking the beach with coffee when Liv called out, "Hey, what's that?" Half buried in the dune grass, just a few feet off the trail, was a small black GoPro, mounted on a cheap tripod. The lens was pointed directly at our cabin. I picked it up. It was still warm. I turned it on, went to the most recent clip, and hit play. At first, it was just static beach footage. But then, after a few clips, there was one from last night. You could see our cabin. The porch light was off, but the moon gave everything a bluish glow. After about 30 seconds, someone walks into frame. Tall, hood up. They walk slowly to the porch steps and crouch low, just beneath the window. You could hear their breathing. Heavy, erratic. They stayed there, watching, for almost 12 minutes. Then they stood, looked directly at the camera, though you couldn't see their face, and walked into the dunes. I've never felt a chill like that. Full body. Like I'd been watched and didn't even know it. We called the police. A local deputy showed up that afternoon. He took the camera, asked a few questions, and told us, very calmly, that this wasn't the first time. Apparently, they'd found several hidden cameras in the dunes along that stretch of coast, all pointed at rental cabins, all with similar footage. Someone was stalking renters, documenting them. They didn't know who was doing it. Worse, some of the cameras were motion activated, which meant whoever set them up came back to get the footage. We cut the trip short, packed everything in under 20 minutes and drove straight out. It's been 6 months and we still haven't heard anything back from the sheriff's office. But sometimes I'll check Liv's phone and I'll see an airdrop request pop up. Just for a second. No name, no contact, just a blank thumbnail, no file attached.